Hello. Today we'll study the chapter 8, Mechanical Properties of Fluids. Here in this chapter, we are going to study the three major topics. Topic 1 is fluid pressure, topic 2 is flow of liquid, and topic 3 is surface tension. So separately we'll study all the three topics. The syllabus of this chapter is Mechanical Properties of the Fluids, Pressure due to the fluid column, Pascal's law and its application, hydraulic lift and hydraulic brakes, effect of gravity, fluid pressure, viscosity, Stokes' law, terminal velocity, streamline and the turbulent flow, critical velocity, Bernoulli's theorem and its application. Surface energy, tension, angle of contact, axis of pressure across a curved surface, application of surface tension, ideas to droughts and bubbles and capillary rise. So this is the syllabus for this chapter 8. Now let's proceed with the topic 1, which is fluid pressure. So firstly, we'll go through the terms which are related to this topic, fluid pressure. Firstly, fluid. What is fluid? So a fluid refers to the substance which can flow and which has a no definite shape of its own and assumed to the shape of the containing vessel. So fluid is not having its own shape. It is simply just reshaping itself on the basis of the containing vessel, or it assumes the shape of the containing vessel. This is what the fluid means. Fluid thrust. Fluid thrust is nothing but the total normal force exerted by the fluid at the rest of a given surface. Force or a normal force exerted by the fluid at the rest or a given surface in the contact with its, then it is called thrust of the fluid on that surface. Now, another thing is fluid pressure. So, fluid pressure is the thrust exerted by the fluid at a per unit area of a surface in contact with its fluid pressure. This is called fluid pressure. Thrust is exerting by the fluid at a rest per unit area of a surface in the contact. Then it is called fluid pressure. Mathematically, P is equals to F upon A, where P is the fluid pressure and P is the fluid pressure, F is the fluid thrust, and A is the surface area in the contact with the fluid. And SI unit of this fluid is, or the fluid pressure is Newton per meter square. Dimensional formula will be mL inverse and T minus 2, and it is a scalar quantity. So this is all about the fluid pressure. Now let's move forward with the units, common unit of the fluid pressure. So 1 atmosphere will be equals to 1.03 into 10 raised to the power 5 Pascal. So 1 bar will be equals to 10 raised to the power 5 Pascal, and 1 torr will be equals to 133 Pascal. These are the standard units or a common units of our fluid pressure. Now the pressure inside a fluid. We have studied fluid pressure, but there is pressure inside the fluid as well. So what is that? So that will be P is equals to H rho into G, where H is the vertical depth and rho is the density of the fluid and G is the acceleration due to the gravity. So the pressure inside the fluid will be P is equals to H rho into G. Pascal's law. Pressure in a fluid in equilibrium is same everywhere. Here the state is equilibrium, and in that particular state, pressure in the fluid is same everywhere. If the effect of the gravity can be neglected, then this is the Pascal's law. When our gravity is neglected, at that time, pressure in a fluid in the equilibrium state will be the same everywhere. Now, application of the Pascal's law. Hydraulic lift, hydraulic brakes. The Pascal's law application will be hydraulic lift and hydraulic brakes. We'll study deeply about these hydraulic brake and hydraulic lift as well. Now moving to the next, Archimedes principle. When a body is partially or wholly immersed in a fluid, we have any fluid container, and in that particular fluid container, any body is there which is like maybe it is partially or fully immersed. Okay, then it experience a loss in its weight, which is equals to the weight of the liquid displaced by the body. At that moment, what just happened is this body itself experience a loss in its weight, which will be equals to the weight of the liquid displaced by the body. So this is what Archimedes principle means. Now, the key equation and the key formulas of this chapter. So here, firstly, as we already studied about this in a fluid pressure, that P is equals to F upon A, where P is the fluid pressure, F is the fluid thrust, and A is the surface area of the contact with the fluid. And another one is P is equals to H into rho into G. So where P is the pressure inside a fluid, H is the vertical depth, rho is the density, and G is the acceleration due to the gravity. Also, P is equals to P0 plus H rho G, where P is the liquid pressure and P naught is the atmospheric pressure. In a continuation, here H is the vertical depth, rho is the density of the fluid, and G is the acceleration due to the gravity. Another formula is W dash is equals to mg 1 minus sigma upon rho. So here where W dash is equals to effective weight of the body immersed in a liquid, M is the mass of the body, G is the acceleration due to the gravity, rho is the density of the body immersed, and sigma is the density of the liquid. So these are the important formulas. This page is representing the topics which we are going to cover in this chapter. So mechanical property of the fluids, which covers the viscosity thing, formula thing, Bernoulli's principle and its application, absolute pressure, gauge pressure, flow of the liquid, and the loss of the fluid. So these are the major topics along with their key formulas and the definition. This chapter has been covered. Now, let's move forward with the 1 marks, 2 marks, and the 5 marks question. Firstly, 1 marks question. Here, hydrostatic pressure is a scalar quantity even though pressure is a force divided by the area of forces vector. I explained. So here, pressure is transmitted equally in all direction. Inside the liquid, we have a liquid, and in that particular liquid, pressure is transmitted equally in all the directions. Since there is a no definite direction of the pressure, it is a scalar quantity. As the direction has not been defined, or it's not a definite, we can say, then it is a scalar quantity. Now, second one is, what is meant by 1 torr of pressure? So 1 torr is equals to pressure exerted by 1 mm high volume of the mercury. 1 torr is equals to like pressure exerted, but by the quantity which is 1 mm high volume, high column of a mercury. This is what 1 torr means. Another thing, what is the 1 atmospheric pressure? We have already studied that it's a standard unit, that 1 atmospheric pressure will be equals to 1.01 into 10 raised to the power 5 Newton per meter square, or Newton per meter square, we can also say it as a Pascal. So this is the unit or the standard unit of 1 atmospheric pressure. Another question is, storage tanks are made thicker near the bottom. Why? We know that the storage tanks are there, but they are thicker near the bottom. The reason behind it, actually, the liquid pressure is higher in the bottom. So just to bear that particular liquid pressure, wall are made thicker. This is the reason that the tanks are made thicker near the bottom, as just because of high liquid pressure. Now, a cork is floating in the water. What is the apparent weight? Here, the weight of a cork, apparent weight of the cork has been asked. Like there is one beaker, and which is filled with the liquid, and in this particular beaker, a cork is just simply floating. At that time, the weight is 0. That's why apparent weight is 0. This is only the reason the cork is floating in the water. Now, moving to the next with the 2 marks and the 3 marks question. Question 1 is, what is mercury preferred over all other liquids for a barometer? Why the mercury? We know that mercury has been used in the barometer, but why it is preferred over other liquids? Rest liquids are also there, but we are preferring mercury only. So what actually the reason behind it? So mercury is preferred over all the other liquids for a barometer because the reason is density of the mercury is maximum and only 76 centimeter of mercury column balances the balances the atmospheric pressure. First thing is the density of the mercury, and only the 76 centimeter of the mercury column balances at the atmospheric pressure. So first reason is the density. Another is the vapor pressure. Vapor pressure of the mercury is negligible, and hence the space over the mercury column is almost a vacuum. As the vapor pressure is not there or it's negligible, and this is the reason the space is almost vacuum. So just because the density of mercury, and another reason is because of vapor pressure, mercury is preferred over all other liquids for a barometer. Now, second is a balloon filled with the helium. A balloon is there which is filled with the helium, does not rise in the air indefinitely but halts after a certain weight. Why? So initially the balloon rises since the weight of the air displaced by the balloon. As we know that balloon rises, it just rises just because the weight of the air displaced by the balloon is more than the weight of the balloon. So as the balloon rises up, the density of the atmosphere decreased. When balloon is rising at that time or at that moment, density of the atmosphere decreases and the weight of the displaced air also decreases. Then this is the reasons it halts after a certain height. So when the weight of the displaced air becomes equals the weight of the balloon, and then it stops. At this moment, what just is happening is the weight is displaced by the air and becomes equals to the weight of the balloon, and that's why this is the reason it halts there. Now, question 3 is the force required by a person to move his limbs in a water is less than the force for the same movement in the air. Why? The force is less. The reason behind it. So the weight of the displaced air is the greater than the weight of the weight of displaced air is the greater than the weight of displaced air. So here it means upthrust is more. This particular condition, the upthrust is more. So for the same movement, a person requires a less force for the limb movement in a water. This is the reason it requires a less force in comparison of air. Now, question 4 is what is pressure? Give its unit and the dimension. If is it a scalar or a vector quantity? So, firstly, we'll have to explain what is pressure, what its unit, its dimension, and what kind of quantity it is, whether it's a scalar quantity or whether it's a vector quantity. So, the thrust exerted by the fluid at the rest per unit area of the surface in the contact with its fluid pressure, then P is equals to F upon A. So, where P is equals to fluid pressure, F is equals to fluid thrust, and A is the surface area of the contact with the fluid. SI unit is Newton per meter square. Dimensional formula is ml inverse T minus 2, and it is a scalar quantity. So, this is all about the pressure. It's mathematical expression, the terms explanation. It's SI unit, its dimensional formula, and its quantity. Now, moving to the next. To empty an oil can, two holes are made. Why so? We know that in any oil kind of can, there are two holes there. But what is the reason behind it? So, when there is a one hole, the pressure inside the oil can less than the outer atmospheric pressure. So, oil does not come out. And when the second hole is made, air enters the inside, and the can pressure inside, atmospheric pressure plus oil column pressure, becomes greater than the outer atmospheric pressure, and that's why oil flows out. Just for the proper atmospheric pressure, the reason is two holes are there in that particular can. Now, 5 marks question. What is fluid? We'll have to explain first that what is fluid. Show the fluid exerts a pressure. Prove that if the liquid is at the equilibrium, then the force acting on its perpendicular to its surface. So, firstly, fluid is a substance which has a no definite shape, as we already know. Its own and assumes the shape of a containing vessel. Fluid have ability to flow, and fluid means both the liquids and the gases. It is for the straight liquid and gases both. A glass tube is having opening at the bottom, a balloon, and the tight at the opening. So, this is the glass water, like balloon has been fitted when we fill the liquid in this particular tube, bulge the balloon, obviously. Then the water is poured in the tube and the balloon will start bulging as the water fills in the tube. The bulging is due to the pressure exerted by the water. Thus, it is proved that the fluid exerts the pressure. From this condition, it is clear that yes, fluid is also exerting the pressure. Consider a container filled up with a liquid in the equilibrium condition. So the force is acting in the liquid will be like this and made an angle theta. Also, force has been divided in two components, F cos theta and F sin theta. And F cos theta is along with the surface, this, and F sin theta is just perpendicular to the surface. So, since the liquid is in the equilibrium, so there is a no flow. Obviously, the condition has been mentioned that this liquid is in the equilibrium state. So, obviously, F cos theta will be equals to 0. So, at that moment, theta is equals to 90 degrees. So, the force is perpendicular to the surface. Here, we can conclude that force is perpendicular to the surface as the angle is 90 degree. Now, moving to the next one, obtain an expression for the pressure exerted by the liquid column. A container contains a liquid. Firstly, we have a container and it is containing a liquid. In this particular container, rho is the density of the liquid, x and y are the 2 points inside the liquid, h is the difference of the depth of 2 point x and y. A right circular cylinder is imagined with the x, y and c like this of the axis, and a is the area of cross section in the cylinder, and the weight of the liquid inside the imaginary cylinder will be volume into density into g. So here this condition mg is equals to weight is mg only and this rest thing is a, h, o and g. Now the pressure will be different. For the P1 and P2 are the pressure at the point x and y respectively. For the upper case, this will be P1A, area of cross section will remain same, and force on the lower face will be P2A. So these are the two forces and oppositely directed since the liquid in the equilibrium state. So what just happened is we have concluded that the different pressures has been working in the upper and the lower case. An area of cross section will remain same. So horizontal force are mutually balanced over here. So at that moment, the equation, the mathematical expression will be P1A plus mg is equals to P2A. Okay, so P1A will just substitute the value of mg from the equation 1. It will be P1A plus AH rho g is equals to P2A. So when we solve this, we get P2 minus P1, which will be equals to H into rho into G. So this is the expression for the pressure exerted by the liquid volume. So as we have to find only the expression for the pressure exerted by the liquid volume, so this will be P2 minus P1 is equals to H rho into G, where H is the difference of the depth from the point X and Y, rho is the density and G is the acceleration. Now, state and prove the Pascal law. Explain the working of the hydraulic brakes as an application of the Pascal law. We know that application of the Pascal law is the hydraulic brake. So first you will have to explain the Pascal law and the application, how hydraulic brakes work and all. So working of a hydraulic brakes. Hydraulic braking system uses the brake oils for reducing the speed or stopping the vehicle completely. What actually the hydraulic brake is and it work. So hydraulic braking system uses the brake oil and or just for reducing the speed or stopping the vehicle completely. What it uses brake oil. So these brake works without any mechanical connection between the actuator and the drum shoe, if you can see from this diagram. Also force multiplication according to the Pascal's law. So is the basic principle on which on the basic Pascal law principle it is working, and Pascal principle guarantees that the force applied on the brake pedal is distributed uniformly throughout. Just see, this is the vehicle, this is the master cylinder, brake pedal is here, brake oil is there, rim of the wheel, brake shoe and two other wheels and the pipeline. So this diagram is clearly representing the working. Then to stop or slow down, just for the condition of to stop or to slow down vehicle, the force is applied on the brake pedal, obviously with the force applied over here, and the piston is connected to the brake pedal, is forced into the master cylinder. When we apply the force over here, this piston will work and just go to the master cylinder containing the brake oil, and from the master cylinder, force is equally distributed to the wheel cylinder. Force is equally distributed to the wheel cylinder and through the brake line. Here it will start and go through to distributed to the all, and to all wheels render through the brake line, and this will force the brake shoe out against the rim of the wheel, and the vehicle slow down. From here it will start the working and just go down, and because of this just vehicle will slow down or stop. So this is the basic principle of the Pascal law and its application. Now moving to the next, the numerical based on this. First is the air pressure is equals to 75 centimeter column of the mercury. Express it in the Newton per meter square. Give G is equals to 10 meter per square, and density of the mercury is also given. So air pressure is there, but we have to find it in the Newton per meter square. So pressure is 75 centimeter column of the mercury. Then this will be equals to height into density into G. H is height, rho is the density, and G is the gravity due to acceleration. So can we substitute the value? We convert the centimeter into the meter of this value. Then 75 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 into 13.6 into 10 raised to the power 3 into 10. So when we solve this, we get the pressure value, which is equals to 1.02 into 10 raised to the power 5 Newton per meter square. So this is the air pressure value. Now, second is calculate the pressure of the sea water at the depth of 200 meter. We have, now again we'll have to calculate the pressure only. The depth is given, which is 200 meter. When the average density of the sea water is 1.032 into 10 raised to the power 3 kg meter cube, and the value of G is also given, which is 9.8 meter per second square. Then pressure is equals to depth into density into G. So this will be equals to, we substitute the value 200 into 1.032 into 10 raised to the power 3 to 9.8. So here we get the value of pressure P is equals to 2.02272 into 10 raised to the power 6 and Newton per meter square. So this is all about the topic 1. Thank you. Stay tuned for the topic 2.